A national debate over immigration enforcement is drawing people from western North Carolina to speak out.
News 13's Denise McMillan spoke with people from Hendersonville who traveled hundreds of miles to Minneapolis, joining thousands across the country, demanding accountability and change.
Janie Ryan, a woman in her 70s, and her church's reverend say they felt it was important to go to Minneapolis to bear witness to what's happening there, rather than solely relying on government narratives. Janie Ryan captured this video while protesting outside the Whippley Federal Building in Minneapolis, where she says federal agents were stationed in bringing in detainees. She stood alongside about 200 other demonstrators.
And at one point, about 50 to 75 officers dressed in camo or all black walked across the road till about 10 feet in front of me. I couldn't understand how, and still can't, how Americans could turn on fellow Americans.
Ryan says officers didn't intimidate her, and she continued to chant.
That was what I was screaming. We have the freedom of speech.
Ryan says that belief is what motivated her to travel hundreds of miles from Hendersonville to Minneapolis to lend her voice. Later that same day, she joined thousands marching through downtown Minneapolis in the Ice Out protest.
We were protesting for their lives, and that's one of the things that led me up there. I know that my voice also helped, they've removed some of the people that Gregory Bovino, who was in charge of the ICE movement up there, he's out.
The Department of Homeland Security says federal agents are in Minnesota to arrest what it calls the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. But Hendersonville Reverend George Grimhow says that doesn't align with what he personally witnessed while spending time in Somali neighborhoods in the Twin Cities.
No fewer than 12 masked armed agents swarming out of multiple vehicles to approach this pregnant Somali woman and her children. And keep in mind the vast majority of the Somalis there are refugees or otherwise legally in this country. And they were targeted based on their appearance, but ministers were standing there bearing witness to this, and I think that helped keep the community safe.
Grimhow was one of roughly 700 clergy members from across the country invited to observe conditions and provide community support, working with local churches to distribute food to residents afraid to leave their homes or go to work.
We feel that it's a playbook that's being experimented on, with Minneapolis that could then be exported to other cities, and it's important to use direct eyes on the ground to disrupt that narrative and to really provide an alternative that's more just and centered in love.
Grimhow says this isn't about turning a blind eye to immigration violations, but going about it in a way that doesn't harm innocent people. Janie says she will continue to use her voice, even here in Henderson County, during next month's No Kings rally. In Henderson County, I'm Denise McMillan, News 13.